What do you envision when you think about writing a family history? Chances are your project that you have in mind is too big for you to accomplish, which is why you haven't finished yet. In today's video, I'm going to tell you how to narrow your scope so you can be successful writing your family history. Welcome to Family History Fanatics, where we help you understand your DNA, climb your family tree, and write your ancestor stories along the way. And chances are you haven't written a family history and published it because your project is too big. I have heard people say things like, I want to write a family history that covers 4 generations of my surname Brown. Wow. Good luck with that. And that's just on the lower end of things. Some people want to go all the way to their Mayflower ancestor and then write all of the stories for every generation all the way down to the present. Yeah, they're not finished yet. Now, some people want to write about 8 families from New Haven, Connecticut. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty big. It's pretty ambitious. And I don't think you can't achieve that goal. But if you've never written a story or you have never finished a story, the reason is because your project is too big. So instead of trying to write this sized book, perhaps you want to write this sized book, or even a scrapbook where the stories are even smaller. So let's talk about ways that you can narrow your scope in order to get a story written, and then you can fill shelves and shelves at home of books about your ancestors. To illustrate my points, I'm going to talk to you about a person that I grew up watching on TV. His name is Giff Nielsen. So Giff Nielsen was the sports commentator on KHOU in Houston when I was growing up. Now, if I was going to write about Giff, let's just pretend he's my ancestor. If I was going to pick him, I have a lot of things I can write about. Well, first, I can talk about the fact that he was a news broadcaster. I could also talk about the fact that he played for the Houston Oilers. Houston Oilers, Houston Oilers. Oh, wait, sorry. So he played for the Houston Oilers for a number of years. I can also write about the fact that he played for the BYU football team, and now he is devoting his life to be a servant of Christ and serves in his church. That's a lot. And chances are your ancestors have maybe not as many stories as Giff Nielsen has, but they have a lot of stories. So if I were writing about Giff as my ancestor, then I'm going to narrow down the focus just a little bit. And since I enjoyed the Houston Oilers when I was a child, let me narrow down to his years and his involvement with the Houston Oilers. So I can narrow down to what was it like for Giff to play quarterback for the Houston Oilers and just focus on those years. In fact, I can even just focus on one particular season, maybe his last one. The other thing I can write about is I can write about his role as a sports broadcaster covering the Houston Oilers. There were 2 years that the Houston Oilers were part of the AFC Central Division playoffs, but they could never clinch the division championship or go to the Super Bowl. So chances are he has lots of stories of being a sports commentator covering the team he used to play for. Or I could talk about the fact that he was a sports commentator when the Houston Oilers left Houston and went to Tennessee. That was his team that he's covered for so many years, and that's his team when he played for as a professional football player. So I could narrow down to just the year or the few years leading up to the Oilers leaving and what replaced the void until we now have the Houston Texans in H-Town. So I hope you see the benefits of narrowing your scope. If you're going to write a story, you need to start with one ancestor and one event in their life, and maybe even a subset of the events in their lives. If you do, you'll be far more successful. More tips and tricks on how to write your ancestor stories, check out this playlist here. And to see our latest video, sign up here. And don't forget to look in the description for a free guide for 5 tips to start writing about your ancestors quickly.